Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Monday keeps scooting up, and I love it. I love that life is moving quickly. I love that, how do I say, things are happening in exactly the way that they're meant to happen. And I wanted to talk today. I was curious as to why, judgment had been coming up. I get usually like a little theme for what we're supposed to talk about. I mean, last week we were just open to anything coming up, but today I thought this is it's very interesting because we have a growth mindset around here because we're efficient in our processes. And, I had a client just the other day that had said, I might not be one of your ideal clients. I'm not, a corporate girly. I'm not this. And I find that my ideal client, just like this community, is someone who speaks from I statements and just says, I'm in competition with the me of my last breath. I have no desire to judge you or judge you. I'm in competition of me and my last breath. But I find because we came here to have a human experience, we are in a body that has an ego. We have a positive and a negative ego. We have these experiences. We have these judgments. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. And so I find that it's a little bit of a roller coaster sometimes when we're trying our best to navigate the world and say, okay, I see something outside of me and I'm judging that because, but I'm trying not to judge it, even though, it's good to have a judgment. It's good to say, I like this or I don't like this, or, it's good to have that discernment. But having both of them is very, very interesting. And so I checked the tarot since we do tarot on Mondays, and I was like, why is Judgment coming up? Because Judgment is the Pluto card. So we have Pluto, the Sun in Aquarius, which is the star card. This is the royalty, the court card that runs Aquarius. And this is the minor arcana, good morning, that runs the first decan of the astrological wheel over here of Aquarius. So 0 to 10 degrees of Aquarius. So good morning. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. I'm so grateful that you're all here. And so I was fascinated. I always, find this card to be very fascinating. And this is, where the sun went into Aquarius yesterday. So this is where the sun is. This is where Pluto is. This is where our new moon in Aquarius at 9 degrees, which is our next moon cycle. This is where the sun conjunct Pluto is going to be. And so it's so fun. It's just such a fun card. And I thought it would be fascinating. I was going to do, these are the big ones that I teach and train with. And I had them out in the other way, the pictures from that, but I wanted to keep the big ones to the side. Good morning. So I could do a card pull for us and see what comes up. Because I find that if we view anytime a judgment or anytime we get triggered, I feel like that word in and of itself needs a little bit of understanding. What if we rebranded the word trigger to I'm getting activated, there's a light getting shown on something inside of me that needs attention, So let's see what comes through on the cards and see how everyone's doing. I like doing the card pull just to kind of check in with the collective and see what we need to see today. Let's see what comes through. And I'm not in the North Shore, but I'm in Massachusetts, and we got a beautiful snowstorm yesterday, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So I feel like it's a little bit of a winter wonderland outside. Winter always stinks. Thank you. Reminds me to appreciate the other seasons. Oh, this is so beautiful. So beautiful. So this is the first one that came out. I feel like this has come out for us before. Loving what we've got as we've got it, where we've got it, cleaning the house, all things. Pentacle, it's not. I think it's Taurus. I think this is Taurus energy. Capricorn, pardon me, Capricorn energy. Loving everything. Loving everything that you've got. I think this has come out for us before. This is where the full moon was. The full moon in Cancer was just falling in the general wheel. If there's confusion, if there's frustration, if there's judgment, and this is the bottom of the deck right over here, how do we respond? If we feel as though we want to act or react, if something outside of us, triggers us, if something is going on, like what does that mean? What's actually happening? Because if you're here at my table, you might have had the last few years are just like, I don't ego death upon ego death, being stripped to the bone, things falling apart, things falling together, moving house, changing jobs, not sure what to do. All of these different things are going on. All these different things are going on. And so at this point, and we know this going into 2025, we've talked about this before, is that things aren't slowing down. We can't pull away and process in the way with the amount of time that we used to. We've learned a significant amount of lessons. We've learned what our triggers are. We've learned a lot. And so now is kind of the time that we're implementing that. And we're being asked on a regular basis, possibly on a daily basis, to see something outside of us that is triggering or is activating. And we get to choose. We get to choose what door we have to walk into. And I always use the analogy of the cafeteria line where, we're walking down the cafeteria line and we're saying, oh, do I want to put this on my plate? Do I not want to put this on my plate? Does that really upset me? I love Brussels sprouts. Not everybody loves Brussels sprouts. A lot of people have trauma around Brussels sprouts. My mom used to make me sit at the table until I finished my Brussels sprouts, and now I'm never eating Brussels sprouts again. Where that can be a moment of, okay, my inner teenager obviously needs a little bit of attention. When something comes up, when we're triggered, when we're activated, when we see something in our outside world and this could be someone that maybe I'm just like letting this come through right now. Maybe this is, someone from our past. Maybe this is a family member. Maybe this is just experiencing divides in the world, whatever country that you reside in, whatever is going on within your chosen reality. There could be divide, or there can be you see someone walking down the street that is living in an undesirable experience that you are, and finding a way to say thank you, finding a way to acknowledge the triggers that comes up within yourself, and to recognize that every thought that we think and every word, every spell that we speak has to hit our body first. It has to hit you first. So when we have a judgment of another, that's why so many mindfulness coaches and so many mindfulness people, they say you have to send gratitude and love to your perceived enemies, to the perceived people in your life that have wronged you, and express gratitude, because when you judge another, when you hate another, when you are upset with another, or you've given power to another, that negative energy has to hit your body first. It's a thought that goes into your brain and then has to saturate through your human existence to come out your mouth to go and be expressed towards into the world and towards that person. And so there's so many different of those like mindfulness mantras where it's like what is it, like when you worry about something, it's like praying to the problem, or when you speak poorly about someone, it's gossip has been or speaking negatively of another has been a very big theme in the all signs readings that's been coming up lately, which is very fascinating to me, where a lot of people, and I've had client sessions where they maybe that was a color that they used to wear and now they really don't want to put it on anymore, but the people around them, this could be gal pals, this could be people that at the office, especially in, the service industry, whether it be, in restaurants or in hairdressing, it's like the tea. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It was just the most, I had to tell everyone on the staff at my last restaurant, like, I'm not gossiping anymore. Do not bring it to me, because I would literally just be like, my section's fine. Tell me, tell me what's up. Tell me what's up. It was one of the things that when I quit smoking cigarettes, this was 10, 12, 13 years ago. I don't even remember at this point, where, when you have your butt break and you go outside, oh, it's the best. Talk about the tables, you talk about the restaurant, you talk about everybody. And when I quit, I would still give myself my butt break, but I would just sit there and scroll on my phone because it's, the habit of habit and giving yourself that moment away. Or I'd be like, I'm just breathing my clean, fresh air, just sitting here and just like learning a language. And it can be very addictive. Everything, addiction doesn't have a name, it doesn't have a face, it can go into anything. And another theme that's been coming up for a lot of all signs readings, a lot has been sobriety in one way or another, and integrating sobriety from gossip, from this type of an energy, because if any sort of pattern, any sort of, addiction, anything that stumps you where you are, that can be perceived as an addiction, whether it be, sugar, whether it be cannabis, whether it be drinking, whatever it may be, gossiping. Whereas we only get so many words to speak on this planet. We only get so many minutes. Time is one of the most important currencies that we have. And we don't recognize that we're paying it every single day, every single day. And so I find with this judgment theme is if you see something that you judge in another, and this is where we kind of have to break it into two separate compartments. Is it something that I need to look at and heal within myself? Or is this an opportunity for me to take action steps away from that and say, that's not my flavor, that's not for me? Especially when it comes to family, especially when it comes to past relationships. And I don't really like the term narcissist. I think that it's overused. I think unless you really have gone to a psychiatrist and been diagnosed as a narcissist, it's not possible for anyone to say you're a narcissist. But when there are maybe, codependent, dangerous tendencies, addictive tendencies, or if you're removing yourself from a situation that has those themes, where there's gaslighting, where there's, lying, whatever that may be, I don't want us to say, this is where discernment comes in. I don't want us to say, oh, I'm seeing that in another. I have to heal that in myself. There's something wrong with me. This could be a moment to say, no, there's actually nothing wrong with me. I process very deeply, and I speak from I statements, and I continue to nurture and nourish myself, and I have a growth mindset, and I'm working on myself every single day. This is just an opportunity to say, I don't want that in my vibration. That's not allowed in my vibration anymore. Thank you. I don't like that color. I don't like that tone. I don't like that smell. I don't want to put that flavor in my mouth anymore. I'm done with it. And to be able to set those healthy boundaries and to say, that's not mine to take on. That's not mine to take on. And so it takes a lot of navigating, and we're being asked right now to do this in a very efficient time. Show of hands. Nothing slowing down for anybody else? Is it every day you're like, what new Thunderdome is the universe putting me in that I get to navigate with all these new tools that maybe I just integrated yesterday? It just feels like everything not is speeding up, but like we talked about, I think a few weeks ago, where it feels like we're Neo at the very end of the first Matrix, where like everything around us is in slow motion. We're moving fast. We can get sucked into the molasses level of, apathy, or we can get sucked into the run around, run around, run around, run around, run around. But finding our inner compass is very important, and something that I'm really working on right now as well. A lot of it has, astrologically, the North Node is going into Pisces and the South Node is going into Virgo. It's very interesting, this transit. We're in between because I follow the mean node and the mean Lilith. The true North Node already went into Pisces. I think it was the 11th of January. And the mean node is going to be going into Pisces the day of the new moon in Aquarius, which is falling on the 29th. So I'm very excited about that day. I'll have a full introduction to that energy. I'll have a full all signs reading for that. I was going to do, like I normally do, like an introduction to the energy for the North Node going into Pisces and the South Node going into Virgo. I was going to do a whole introduction for it, but every time I get ready to record it, I'm like, I'm keen to do an all signs reading for it. So I think I'm going to do that. But it was just very fascinating to me that this energy, the way that I'm calling it, I've written most of a blog about it, is when intuition, processing, and what else did I call it? Oh my gosh, pardon me. I think I mentioned it to you once before. When telepathy, processing, and intuition, magic all go mainstream. This is a very fascinating time to be alive and to be aware and to have been doing inner work on ourselves. So the North Node has been in Aries over here in the beginning, the storefront view of my life. We've been asked to speak from I statements, to find our own sovereignty, to find our own independence, even within our relationships. The South Node was equally in our house of relationships in Libra, which was also open enemies. So a lot of us have been challenged. A lot of us have been put to the, especially in my early degree Aries placements, that was coming up in the all sign reading. Like, you were legally right. A lot of things were legally right, but your execution could have made you wrong. And it was interesting. And I have an all signs reading membership group, my all access membership group as well. And you can purchase this as a one-off. I have an all signs reading for the entirety of Aquarius season. And there are many signs that are going through really either messed up legal issues, really interesting family stuff, whether it be, doing work in the astral with ancestors, you're, looking into your history, you're dealing with parents, and this could be, mother capital M, father capital F. We have Mars retrograde in Cancer over here, which is an assertive planet. It's not like, Capricorn is run by Saturn. We still have Mercury over here in Capricorn, but Mars is a more aggressive planet. And that being retrograde in Cancer energy, we're going inward. Hello, 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 welcome. We're looking at our role within the dynamic. We're looking at our role within the whole, within the experience, and recognizing that anytime something gets activated and we find ourselves judging the situation, anytime this comes up, I want you to Zach Morris yourself. It's from Saved by the Bell. You just, okay, stop. What is going on here? And look at the situation from above and say, okay, this is activating me. Is this something that I need to respond to? Is this something that I need to react to? Am I in physical danger? Am I in, mental, emotional danger? Really check in on yourself. Really check in that moment and ask yourself, like that cafeteria line, is this something that I want to take with me into my next breath? Is this something that I can release? Can I express gratitude for this person? Can I express gratitude for this situation? Knowing that every person on the planet is another version of you. We are all souls. We are all God having a human experience. So every person on the planet, and this is a tough one to swallow, every person on the planet is doing the best that they can. Every single person on the planet is doing the best they can. If they weren't, they would be doing something else. Everything is as it is meant to be right now. But when we perceive the situation, the world, however it may be, from a judgmental space, that's saying and this is tough for me too, and this is this is how intense it can get sometimes, where I'm like, are you playing God? Are you trying to be the one that says this has to be this way and this has to be this way, and in my perfect reality this is supposed to be this way and this is supposed to be this way? It's a collective consciousness that we're a part of, and we chose to be one specific puzzle piece within the collective consciousness, within the collective of the human collective. So when we see things come up, and this is just coming to me now, the guides are saying, like, where is the broken record in your life? Where does the same type of situation keep? Oh my God, the wind is just blowing. Where is the same situation coming up? Where is the same thing happening? And how can we turn that into a moment of, what's the common denominator? Me. I am viewing this. I am seeing this on the picture of my life. How can I change my response? How can I change my engagement with this? How can I say, maybe, and again, this is where discernment comes in, like I had said about danger zones. I'm not in any way saying you have to engage with anyone that is hurting you or that has narcissistic tendencies. That is not what I'm saying in any capacity. I'm saying, how can I respond or react differently? And sometimes silence can be roaring. Sometimes if we've constantly, I'll speak from my statements on this one. There was a time that I was in an extremely verbally abusive relationship for many years, many years. My soulmate, the love of my life, and you know how you get into those situations. And so there was a moment before every single, near the end, I'd say, not at the very beginning, I'd say in like the last year of the relationship, there was a moment inside of myself in every single fight where I said, Sarah, You don't have to engage. You know he's poking at you. You know that he's doing this just to try to hurt you. You know he's looking for a fight. Don't say anything. And there'd be a moment where I would say, ah, and you get up and we engage with that. And so there came, and I talk about this, I won't share the entire story, but in my Waking Up Post Woke, my human story, there's an entire playlist on it. It has a lot to do with that relationship. There's portions of it. I think I share a lot of it and how I was able to remove myself from that situation. But it took many years and many people and therapy and a lot of different things. So, with that being said, sometimes you can't. Okay, this is also a big theme, which is people are or have been, and I talked about this in my video, Relationships Are Drastically Changing, How to Navigate the North Node and Aries video. I'm actually might, now that I'm saying this, have to do a North Node and Pisces video because there might be more to unpack in here, or maybe it just if that's something that you're interested in, please let me know and I will definitely do it. But I feel like there's more to say because a lot of people are making decisions in their world. I live in the United States, so I can speak to that collective based on finances. And they're staying in relationships, they're staying with roommates, they're staying in certain areas of their life, certain jobs, certain 3D jobs, because they have to, and they don't have yet the freedom to be able to do what it is that they want to do. Or I think of, being able to travel, being able to leave the situation wherever you are, wherever you are. Not everyone has the capacity to be able to live yet the life that they see in their mind's eye. And so with that being said, I'm just channeling right now, and just the guides are saying, like, look at certain areas of your chart. Look at the Pisces area of your chart. Soul purpose, healing closures, and coming home. Look at this area of the chart, and from now until August 2026, which is when the North Node is going to go into Aquarius, where can you utilize and implement the tools that you learned with the North Node in Aries? Where can I speak from I statements on a more regular basis? And not even engaging with the thought, not even saying, oh, I'm triggered by that, or not even saying, like, oh my God, I can't believe this person cut me off, or not, like, not even needing to go down that cul-de-sac. My brain will be like, oh my goodness, this person cut me off. And then I say to myself, like, oh, maybe their wife is, having a baby. And I always like let them go. And I let that happen. And now what the guides are saying is, like, what can we do just to have that be a thought and then not even have to do the other aspect of it? How can we make that a lot more efficient? And just say, oh, that's not me. And just let that go. And just let that go. That's literally what I do when a thought comes up that I don't want to entertain. When you're like on your phone and you can swipe, like a notification comes and you swipe it away. If a thought comes up that I'm not interested in, I literally just go like this and be like, no, that's not mine. Just get behind me. Just get behind me. That's not for me. And just having that visual with all the tabs open is very helpful, is very, very helpful. And so let's do a few more cards to see what could be some of the medicine. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Whew. These are intense. Yeah, okay. So a lot of these constructs right now could possibly be mental patterns from our childhood. They could be ancestral, they could be taught to us, they could be your negative ego trying to keep you safe. Many different things could be happening. And so how can we recognize that these mental enemies are perceived and created and not real and not real? We got 2 8s here, which, and we talked about this card before. These are things coming in quick, coming in hot, beautiful things. How can we allow more space to come in? How can we allow more blessings to find us? How can we not get caught up so much in that story and just allow there to be a release? Allow there to be more space. How can we allow more love to come into our lives? How can we allow more positive experiences to come into our lives? And recognize that it's like, yeah, how can we mentally, walk on coals and just say, I'm not allowing that in. I'm not allowing that. My goodness, I'm trying to find the right words right now. I don't want us to waste more of our time. Everyone here is a very powerful being of light, a very powerful being on this planet, and I want us to be able to have the time and space to allow. We've talked about this a few times before where people are like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Sometimes when you're in that, like, I'm holding the walls up and I have to worry about this, I have to worry about this, that type of an experience, we're not allowing the goodness to come because we're not feeling safe inside our bodies. We're not allowing our nervous system to calm. We're not allowing any of that to happen. And when we do, when we do allow our nervous systems to calm and relax, and we remove ourselves from situations that are not for us, and we have those boundaries, we're in a situation where we're finally able to feel, and we're finally able to experience a safe bucket for our inner child. We're allowed to comfortably tame and tend to our inner teenager and give them the outlet that whatever it is that they need. But it can be perceived as going backwards, is what I'm saying, where I've had experiences before where I've left really traumatic, like that relationship. I've left really traumatic experiences and relationships. And when I was finally in safe spaces, I was like, what is this? What is this? And all of these different versions of myself. I would cry all the time. I would, go to the grocery store and be like, what do I want to eat? I'm not cooking anything for anybody but myself, and I'm going to do what I want. And it was very me oriented because I was seeing this in hindsight now. I want to offer you that validation that these things could come up. And so a tool that I use whenever an activation comes, when these types of moments comes, or something that I recognize in hindsight could be helpful for these moments, asking yourself, who's talking right now? If you're crying, who's crying? What version of myself is crying? What's going on here? Who is judging? Who's coming up? And I talk about this in my Awaken Mastery, where you get to know your inner team, and they never go away. It's like you've hired a team of people, you're at the boardroom, and your inner child, your inner teenager, your shadow self, your negative positive ego, they're all at the table. They're not going anywhere. They were grandfathered in. You're stuck with them. And so understanding them and being able to give them a voice helps you navigate the human experience in a much more efficient way, in a way that helps you, helps the world. Anything that we heal within ourselves is a vibration that is offered to the rest of the world. I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. And sometimes this self perseverance, or this self protection, a little bit of this. And this card is perceived in many ways, where his crown, his heart chakra, and like his base is very safe and secure. 4, it's a solid foundation of pentacles. But we have to remember that his back is totally exposed. And so certain things that we perceive as safety, It's interesting that the death card came up because the Scorpio reading, Scorpio Sun, Moon, Rising, or wherever Scorpio falls in your chart, in the All Signs reading for Aquarius season, was very interesting, where you might be having desires kind of present themselves. Say like, oh, I want to manifest this, or I want to experience this, or this is the theme of this is the view that I want. And then after maybe a week or two, or after a little bit of, introspection and trying that flavor on, you're like, I don't want that anymore. That was a portion of me, that was the version of me that perceived that as ideal. And the more I view it and the more I thought about it, and it could be one thing that you hear, that shifts your whole perspective in reality. There's a Lewis Howes interview, and I'll put the link for that below. A specific, manifestation. I'll put the link for the speech below the podcast. I forget the gentleman. I've mentioned him before, but I can't think of his name right now. David something, and I can't remember his name. But what he said was, I'll go to certain events and I'll go to certain speeches. And then the second I hear the one thing that I needed to hear, I get up and leave, and I go implement it and integrate it right away. As soon as you get that download, and it switches, it flips the switch, whatever it may be, you're done. You're absolutely done. and you don't need to entertain that reality anymore. I've had clients reach out where, and we've talked about like the little cul-de-sacs, and where it's, I want to take this course, or I want to do this thing, but then I try it on, or I want to do this job and then I try it on. And then all of a sudden it's like, this isn't for me anymore. You've just experienced what it is that you needed to experience, and you've lived, vicariously, for lack of a better term, or you've already experienced all the things. You've cleared what it is that you need to clear, and you don't need to continue down that timeline. You're good. You got the gold, you're done. You got the gold nuggets. It's a beautiful thing. That's actually, that phrase is something that I talk about as to like what to do the week between full moons and new moons. Full moons are, explosion. We had a full moon last week. We talked about it on Monday. And this week, after we've let the dust settle of what closures happened, what completed cycles happened, what emotions came up, where's the gold in there? What is there? If we know that new moons are the time that we manifest, so we plant seeds for what it is that we do want, what is still left in the rubble of what the full moon brought highlights to, or cycles that ended, or information that you were not privy to? What is that? That's, what I like to journal on, and what I like to focus on in my practice the week between the full moons and the new moons. And that's in my How to Work with the Moon, a digital download that's available in my All Access membership group, as well as in the Awakened Mastery. But this is a very special time of human existence, where we're all experiencing lifetimes in a day. All of these different emotions are coming up, and you're going through all different versions of yourself in one day, So the judgment that we put out to others. Oh, I did want to talk about this. I want us to instead transmute that judgment to observation, and view yourself, and use that word curious that we talked about. How can we be curious about things? Or that word interesting. 2024 was my interesting. 2025, I'm like, this is so curious. What's happening? I am super activated. I am getting so triggered right now. And then I'd say, who's talking? It's my inner adolescent. I'm like, girl, I will take you out into the woods. I'll take you for a walk. I'll do whatever it is that you need. But we'll chit chat about this. We'll talk about this. This card is so fascinating to me. So fascinating. So fascinating to me. So this card, the Five of Swords, it's about walking away from a situation. This could be you lost a battle. This is something happened. But who do you identify as? This guy, or this guy? I found in research that not a lot of people identify as this guy. And he's the first one that I see. Whenever this card comes up, I say, amazing. Thank you. I lost something. My ego got punched, whatever it may be. Life wasn't fair, whatever it may be. And I say to myself, what is here? What is here? This is 0 to 10 degrees of Aquarius card. What can I pick up? What swords are left? What lessons have I learned in this situation? What lessons have I learned? Because when we want to rush into things, and say I'm right, we're actively choosing to participate in a situation that we know is wrong, is not right for us. It doesn't have to be it's wrong for the world. It has to say, I don't want to participate in this anymore. This is not for me. This is not the flavor that I want. This is not the aesthetic that I want to try on anymore. So I find, pardon me, the sky is super similar in both of these cards, And, the red, the aggressive, this is very, very fascinating. But I really love when this card comes up to say, what is left? What is there? What lessons have I learned? What new tools can I integrate? What new mindsets can I integrate? Because whenever I feel for myself, and I've had seasons of life where I've done this, where I woke up and I'm like, ugh, another lesson today, another this. Where can we pop out of bed? Where can we find excitement that we are on God's wake up list, that we got to experience human life? It's such a privilege. And I don't know if it was one of the alien species. I forget where I talked about this. Might have been in the aliens video. I'm not really sure. But it is such a privilege to be alive right now. It is one of the most exceptional experiences to be a human being right now on this planet. It is so powerful, and it's confusing and frustrating and beautiful and wonderful and emotional and all different things, and all different things. How can we find gratitude for saying, "Oh my goodness, my eyes opened today. My eyes opened, and I can walk to the loo without assistance. I don't have to press a button. I have access to technology. I have access to YouTube. I have access to clean water. I have coffee. I have a phone. I have tarot. I have connections to God. I have my voice." How can we find gratitude for those little things? And then your brain, that figuring out muscle, that machine will say, okay, instead of the program of I'm in fight or flight or this or everything's bad or all these things, we give it gratitude first thing in the morning, fingers and toes. 10 fingers, 10 toes. Gratitude for those things. Opposable thumbs. I can pick up this cup. That's amazing. That's amazing. Then your brain, that muscle, will say, oh, we're looking for things to be grateful for. What else can I find gratitude for? The snow. Oh my goodness, I can find gratitude for candles. I can find gratitude for crystals. I can find gratitude for Sybil. I can find gratitude for my YouTube community. I can find gratitude for anything. We got to give it something to focus on. You know, what I'm really focused on right now is finding, I love learning and I love study. And I love finding ways to develop my mind. And as of late, I feel as though with all of the emotional shifts that I've gone through, with all the changes that I've gone through, I feel so blessed. You know, my client sessions are really just like the light of my life is connecting to you all on YouTube. And in my client sessions, it's just oh my goodness. In my membership group, I just can't even tell you how much I love and appreciate every single one of you. And it's just such a pleasure to be here with you. But I find that my zest sometimes, as of late, for education, it's lost the fun aspect of it. It's lost the fun aspect. So that's what I'm focused on this week, is really getting out into nature, even though it's chilly outside, getting to the gym 3 to 4 times a week, and really finding the fun of education again. Yes, I'm so excited for the next coaching call as well. It's going to be fun. It's on a fun, it's Venus conjunct Neptune at 27 degrees of Pisces is the astrology of that day. I'm very, very excited. It's going to be, I love my membership groups. They're just so, I love working with all of you. I love connecting to all of you. I love holding space and sharing space and being on this journey together. We learn together and grow together. And I'm so grateful. I'm really looking forward to it. And so please, this week, yes, the content that I'm focused on is the North Node in Pisces, the South Node in Virgo, is the new moon in Aquarius that's coming up. That's okay. If you don't know what's coming up next, just be in what you're in and find excitement just for being here. We get to connect every Monday. We get to connect every single Monday. Did in my the different aliens video, I'd asked about dragons, and they came up during the mantis channeling, an oracle card pull for us, and I'll post that. I love, they're so much fun. I haven't done that for a while. Yes, yes. Go. Let's see. What is the last thing that we can really look at today? What's the ooh. Wands. Lots of pentacles energy. Wands and pentacles. Wands and pentacles energy. Here we go. Wands and pentacles energy. So your major. Ooh. We might feel very alone, or it's almost time for us to be tons of court cards. Tons of court cards. The beginning of something. But we might either feel alone, or it's time to, you know, it's going into February and March every year, especially for the Northern Hemisphere where I live. It can be very daunting because there's so much intensity of the energy Pisces season is so intense. And so it's like, that's what we're focused on. That's what we're coming into. Lots of intensity happening. So hiring a coach, being a part of, everyone is welcome in my membership group, the all access membership group. We do an all signs reading for the season ahead. I do my full moon healing and channeling with access to my healing canvas. And then once a month we meet for a coaching call. And it's just such a beautiful, expressive group. But having someone that holds space for you, I couldn't recommend it more. I have my shaman healer that I go to on a basis that, sometimes it's more regular, sometimes it's not. Sometimes I need someone to really unpack things with, but I can text and email that person. And it's just like my clients, and it's just like, you're always welcome to email. And I offer a 15-minute consultation to see if working together is the right thing. But going into seasons of frustration, going into seasons of, I don't know what's going on, going into seasons of transmuting a seeming purgatory into, how can I wake up every day and find something that I am grateful for and find something that I'm excited about doing? I want that for every single one of you. I want you to feel good about things. YT Social, I want that for you. And so looking at, if it's a great quote that I've heard before. It was a Steve Jobs quote, and I'll leave this with it. Healers need healers. Yes, full stop. Full stop. I agree with you 100%. We can't keep giving and giving and giving. You need to be able to receive. Are the energies really weird? They can be. They can be perceived as really weird. Yes. I think sometimes, actually, I was at one of my favorite cafes yesterday, Ogawa Coffee in Boston. They're just incredible. And I was pulling my cards, and someone had come over and asked for a reading, and they had asked about all different things. Like, I've wanted to do a reading, and I've never seen someone physically in public doing it. I've seen it on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, but I've never seen somebody. And I always love that. Like, if you want to come over for a cafe reading, if we ever bump into each other, just buy me a coffee and we can pull a card or two. And they asked, like, the good signs and the bad signs, or like weird or not so weird. And so it's like, Aquarius season, I want us to make it weird. I want us to make it alien. I want us to make it strange. I want to do all of those things. But that's me. I mean, I have aliens and channeled beings tattooed on my body. So like, that's just me. But no matter your sun, moon, rising, no matter your chart, that's energy for you to work with that is not happening to you. So what I said to this person, there's unevolved, evolving, and evolved versions of every single sign. Actually, many years ago, I did videos on that, unevolved, evolved, and evolving versions of every single sign, and how you can kind of see where that person's at, where that energy's at. But there's no good or bad signs in my perspective and practice. It's what we do with that energy. How do I utilize this? So that's why, we do the season ahead. Say, okay, this is what's coming. That's an offering. These are all energies. You don't have to entertain it. You don't have to participate in it. I have tagged out from many new moons, and I've talked about this before. If I'm experiencing anxiety, I just tell my higher self, highest and greatest good of all involved and invested, wealthiest, most prosperous, most healthy time. But I'm not journaling. I'm not scripting. I'm not doing any of those things. And so that's an option. That's an option. You don't have to be consistently doing this all at the same time. That was also something that came up. I think last week we talked about it, and it came up in a client session this last week as well, which is, we cannot be love and light and processing and, meditating all the time. Sometimes you got to watch Gladiator 2. Sometimes you got to put Tool on. Sometimes you got to let a little bit of the thrash out and just say, the world's going to world. The world's going to world. On my Instagram, I reposted, it was a channeled message from, I forget, JJ, I forget her full name, but she was talking about that. Like, we can't, when it comes to our purpose as light workers, so you turn on a lamp, the light's on. You're not consistently asking the lamp, like, hey, can you just continuously like light and just do it this way and just do it this way and just do it this way and light perfectly, and then like you don't talk to the lamp as it's lighting, and you don't have any other expectations as you just turn the lamp on. So you're a light worker by being alive. So you've done what it is that you're supposed to do by existing alone. So the rest of the time, and just vibe and enjoy life. And it's very triggering. It's very difficult when we think we have to figure out or do more or do all these things. Even my day yesterday, it comes up in my brain. Are you doing enough? Write a blog, do this. It was 4444 when I said that. Are you doing enough? Are you doing enough? You could do this, you could do this. And I said, I have to have once a week. I talk about this in Awakened Mastery. I have to have once a week so that the completed cycle is done. And I can start new, fresh energy on Monday morning to be consistent in my practice. When I was like a workhorse and I was working 70 plus hours a week, my day off was spent at the office doing paperwork because nobody could call me. There was no sustainability within that life. None. So even my Monday live, to be able to channel and to hold space and to be here with all of you. I spend time a little bit passively. I might do an all signs reading after this, but I won't do anything that's front facing. I try not to have client sessions on Mondays to be able to get those ideas to offer them to you, to offer them to you. And as always, please ask questions. Please guide the content and please say, Sarah, can you do a video on this? Sarah, can you do a video on this? Sarah, can you please talk about this more? Help me offer the most accessible information for you. It helps guide the channel. It helps if you have that idea, that download, somebody else does as well. So I think that's it for today. What questions do you have for me? How can I best support you? Please send me an email. I'm very, very excited about my membership group. I have tons of resources for you. I listed below my Tarot Essentials program, my intuitive listening lecture, which is available for my all access members. There's a lot of people that are stepping into a realm of holding space for others. And I find that those are some really key foundational understandings to go out and navigate and listen to other people and to recognize this isn't our stage. This isn't your moment. If you're holding space for another, you're just holding up that bucket and you're letting them have their opinions, their perspectives, their belief systems in every capacity. I do have time for consultations this week, later in the week. Please reach out directly. We can book that. That's completely free. And if I am the right person to hold space for you or not, we just decide together. Never had a job where I didn't have a trial shift and kind of see what's best for us both. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I hope you have beautiful, beautiful weeks, and I'm here if I can ever be helpful. Ooh, do we access the coaching call through your Gumroad? This is my first time, and my 11 millionth marketplaces need to know what is going on. Yes. So in the Gumroad, there is a tab. It's like on the very top, which is just a link to the coaching call. So that's its own separate tab. Is going to be right at the top. So I kept it like as like the very first tab. Peace. Yes. Yes. Peace. Beautiful. And please email directly if you have any questions, if I can walk through that with you. You've got it. Take care. I love you all so much. I will see you next Monday. Bye. God bless you as well.